It's something he promised before being elected, and now Governor Matt Bevin is changing the marriage license form in Kentucky.
We've got a springtime setup complete with the possibility of strong and severe thunderstorms. We'll track that just ahead.
A Lexington woman tells us she is furious that the man convicted of killing her husband 4 years ago has been released from prison early.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening. He calls it fulfilling his commitment to the people of Kentucky. Late this afternoon, Governor Matt Bevin issued 5 executive orders.
One of the changes is to the state's marriage license form. Another impacts rights for felons. Monique Blair joins us now from the live desk to break it all down for us. It is our top story at 6. Monique?
Well, Sam and Amber, Governor Bevin's orders will also affect minimum wage. He is rescinding Governor Beshear's order to increase minimum wage for state workers, but he is making an exception for classified employees who have already received the raise. During his campaign, Governor Bevin publicly supported Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis and her request to have her name removed from marriage licenses after the Supreme Court upheld same-sex marriage. And now Bevin's order impacts all county clerks and removing their names from these forms. It's something Governor Beshear refused to do. Shortly after Governor Bevin announced he was filing this order today, the American Civil Liberties Union of Kentucky said in part, quote, Governor Bevin's executive action has added to the cloud of uncertainty that hangs over marriage licensing in Kentucky. Governor Bevin is also suspending Governor Beshear's executive order that reinstated voting rights for convicted felons. While Bevin says he supports it, he says it didn't follow proper procedure in going before the legislature first. He says the order undermines the Kentucky Constitution and the voice of the people at the ballot box. Now, Governor Bevin is also putting a freeze on hiring for all government positions. He says he wants to analyze if they really need to be filled. Right now, there are close to 100 merit and non-merit job openings listed on the state's website. At the live desk, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Monique, thank you. We did reach out to Governor Bevin's office to try and get clarification on some of the executive orders, and so far we have not heard back.
A judge sentenced him to 10 years in prison for killing a man outside a Lexington gas station. But tonight, a man convicted of manslaughter has been released from prison years early, and the victim's family is furious. Mike Reeder was released from prison yesterday. Back in 2011, police say he shot Jimmy Music along Eastland Drive. Music's widow tells us that she had no warning that Reeder was about to be released. Kristen Kennedy has more.
Leslie Music wasn't prepared for the release of the man convicted of shooting and killing her husband back in 2011. At her last check, Mike Reeder wasn't eligible for parole until 2017.
There was no warning. There was no anything. It was an email that said he's been released today. And if you fear for your safety, call 911.
The Department of Corrections told us the notification network Music's registered with, Vine, normally provides families a notice of changes up to 14 days before the change occurs. In Reeder's case, a program he completed Monday, they say, made him eligible for immediate release.
I feel like I'm going through his death all over again. And I sat through a trial, and I thought that the sentence originally wasn't enough, and now for it to be cut in less than half, it's just wrong.
Commonwealth's attorney Ray Larson spoke with the parole board. They told him that Reeder was eligible for mandatory re-entry supervision.
MRS, they call it. In addition to that, they said, well, he's got good time credit, meaning he was a good boy in prison. And he completed a program while he was in prison, and he had a prison job. All of those gave him more credit.
Reeder, who served about 4.5 years of his 10-year sentence, is back home in Lexington. As part of his release, he does have to follow all general conditions of supervision. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
The Department of Corrections says Reeder must also work toward earning his GED and must complete a drug and alcohol assessment.
The first day of winter feels more like spring across the bluegrass, but tomorrow we could be tracking strong to severe thunderstorms. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look now at your forecast. Chris?
You gotta love Kentucky weather, always changing, and obviously this time of year, everybody hoping for some snow. I keep on hoping. It is not happening this Christmas week, but we are dealing with a lot of springtime air. It feels muggy out there. The December version of muggy is with us over the next several days. Current temperatures are into the mid and the upper 50s. Defender Radar Network, nothing going on across central and eastern Kentucky. After some heavy rains, even thunder and lightning last night, early this morning, things have calmed down. Though we have a front draped to our north and west. To the south of that, moisture streaming back to the north. Low pressure cruising out of the Rocky Mountains. That low by tomorrow at this time is to our north and northwest. That'll put Kentucky in the area to watch for the possibility of some strong, if not severe, thunderstorms. Also, rounds of heavy rain will be on the way second half of tomorrow into tomorrow night. And really, we'll see that action on and off into the upcoming Christmas weekend when near record warm temperatures will also be noted. It is a very un-December-like weather pattern that we are in right now. When I come back in a few minutes, we're going to break down that severe weather threat in a little greater detail, show you a new hour-by-hour forecast for both the timeline of those thunderstorms and just to show you how high the winds may actually get tomorrow night. That's in less than 10 minutes.
Thanks, Chris. And with the strong storms and gusty winds Chris is talking about in his forecast, emergency management leaders want to make sure that you keep a close eye on the weather.
And tonight they also have a warning about your outdoor Christmas decorations. Hillary Thornton explains.
As ice skaters fill the frozen rink in Triangle Park, there is nothing cool about the weather.
This is likely to go down as the warmest Christmas week on record for much of Kentucky.
As we approach Christmas, Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is keeping a watch on what he says could be severe storms, heavy rain, and temperatures reaching the 70s.
Thinking this shouldn't be happening this time of year, you're right, but it doesn't mean it hasn't.
So as you finish up your final Christmas preps, emergency management officials are also asking that you prepare for and watch the weather, including precautions with your decorations.
Encourage people today and tomorrow, before the weather gets a little dicey, to go out and double check those. And if there are some that aren't quite secured right, best thing to do is either get them secured or maybe even take them down.
While downtown Lexington definitely looks like Christmas is only days away, it certainly does not feel like it out here. And that missing winter chill in the air is something that some folks say they're okay to do without.
It's warm. I usually spend my time on the bench under a blanket praying for them to be finished. No jacket, it's beautiful. They're just in sweaters. They're having a great time.
Unfortunately for those unlike Kathy Merriman who are hoping for a festive chill this Christmas, meteorologists say that will not be the case, but are reminding cold weather fans winter is just getting started.
Called for a mild first half of winter and a much colder second half to winter time.
In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
And we want you to remember you can track storms and get the very latest weather forecast on WKYT.com and also the WKYT News app.
Tonight we've learned a Whitley County school bus driver involved in a deadly accident that killed a child will not be charged. A grand jury decided not to indict Amanda Wolliver. Police say her bus hit and killed Jonathan Chatham in March, moments after he stepped off the bus. New at 6, Victor Puente has reaction from the victim's family.
It's been almost 9 months since 10-year-old Jonathan Chatham was hit and killed by the bus, dropping him off after school. In that time, Kentucky State Police have been investigating his death, which they called a pure accident. Now, a Whitley County grand jury has decided the driver of that bus, Amanda Wolliver, won't be facing charges. The jury, which convened on December 14th, released their decision yesterday, returning a no true bill against Wolliver, meaning no charges will be brought against her. I spoke to Jonathan Chatham's grandmother this morning. She told me his family never expected criminal charges against that bus driver. They say something went wrong that day, and they still want answers. In an interview earlier this year, Barbara McMahon told WKYT her son was watching as Jonathan got off the bus. Police told WKYT that Jonathan cleared the bus, but somehow went into the ditch line and came back under the wheels. However, McMahon says she believes something brushed Jonathan. He spun and fell under the bus.
There's either not a mirror that sees there to notice that the kids are there, or perhaps there should be a camera monitoring that area.
She told me today her family is planning a lawsuit against the school board because of Jonathan's death.
And the horror of watching it happen, being unable to get across that road and stop it, that had to be a total nightmare for my son.
In Whitley County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Our calls to the Whitley County School Board for a statement on today's events were not returned.
A Powell County pastor accused of sexually abusing 2 girls says he is not guilty. Steve Williams was arraigned this morning. Police arrested him last Friday. Williams was a pastor at the Bowen First Church of God, a Powell County school bus driver, and a volunteer firefighter. Police say he inappropriately touched 1 girl on a church field trip and touched a 2nd girl at the church. Williams' attorney says the charges don't fit Williams' character.
Excellent reputation in the community. He's been a pastor for a number of years and been involved in civic events. Been kind to everybody that I know of up there. Never heard a negative thing said about this fellow.
Williams is scheduled to be back in court again on Tuesday.
A Pulaski County man accused of killing his father appeared in court earlier today. Jedediah Van Wormer pled not guilty to murder in Pulaski Circuit Court. Police say that his father, Edward Van Wormer, was reported missing on September 15th. He was later found dead on his property on Jones Knob Road. Police later arrested Jedediah and his girlfriend Amanda Braddock in North Carolina. Braddock will be arraigned January 15th.
New tonight, plans are being made to honor a fallen Richmond police officer with a memorial run. Officer Daniel Ellis died after being shot last month in Richmond. The Officer Daniel Ellis Memorial 5K Run Walk will be held Saturday, March 19th at the Richmond Center. Online registration is now open for that event. The race will benefit the Daniel Ellis Memorial Fund, which is being established by his wife, Katie. The people organizing this race also organized the annual Run with All Your Heart race in Russell Springs. It's in memory of Sarah Hart, a Russell County woman who was killed while running in 2012. A major expansion and renovation at Lexington's Living Arts and Science Center is now in the home stretch.
The more than $5 million project has been about 6 years in the making. The center is renovating its historic building. It's also adding a Discovery Center, which will include a planetarium, play studio, digital media lab, and classrooms.
We're looking at being able to start using the new building in mid-February and then hopefully to see everything completed by early April. So time is really of the essence right now.
Center leaders say they're also working to get more furniture, computers, and other equipment for all the new rooms.
Some Central Kentucky children had a chance to get their last-minute wish list to Santa today. Paul Miller Ford in Lexington hosted a special event for children and their families, which included a visit from Santa Claus. Paul Miller workers say this is something they like to do for the community every year.
It's been super fun. Lots of kids have come through. Santa's been so great. He read his stories to the children. He's watched the kids craft and eat cookies with them.
The event also collected toys for the Lexington Firefighter Toy Program. If you have not stopped by, it is not too late. Santa will be at Paul Miller Ford until 7:30 tonight.
The Wildcats have the Louisville Cardinals coming into Rupp Saturday afternoon, and John Calipari has given his team a Christmas break. The Cats struggled in their loss to Ohio State in Brooklyn. They will be coming back to Lexington to practice tomorrow night. Louisville is playing home games tonight and tomorrow. Cal explained in a message on his website today that he's always let his players go home.
This is a great time. As you all know, I give my kids 4 or 5 days off for Christmas, even though we have tough games coming up. They need to be with their family. I need to be with my family. We'll come back together. We'll figure it out. Well, don't you need those 4 days of practice? I guess so. You know, I could keep them here the whole time over Christmas and practice twice on Christmas Day, or I just don't do it. I never have.
Louisville is next. Wildcat warm-up will come your way at 11:30 Saturday morning, followed by the game at noon here on WKYT.